Yo, hey folks, how's it going? Alright, so right now I want to discuss one of my absolute favorite early 80s slasher films. It's not a franchise, and it's not a sequel to a franchise, but it does get compared to a franchise in particular. And the film in question I'm referring to is, boom, The Burning, VHS DVD reissue. Alright, so this film is from 1981, so we already know that this is in reference to Friday the 13th, because it is a camp slasher film. It takes place out in the woods with a killer, and a lot of good gore, and Tom Savini did the great gore effects in it, which he also did for Friday the 13th Part 1 and Part 4, the final chapter. As well as numerous other films like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Maniac, Dawn of the Dead, The Prowler, so on and so forth. So, enough said, he's a badass makeup effects artist who does great massacre scenes and great gore. And this does not disappoint on that end. Okay, so anyhow, the film is badass because the characters are really well fleshed out. You actually like them, you have fun with them up until the time when a lot of the slaughter begins. You get to know them. So the first portion of the film is getting to know the characters before a lot of the madness ensues. Alright? So also, but again, like I mentioned, the gore effects are really badass and top-notch. Some really great righteous murder scenes in this. And some other interesting little notes on this is that Jason Alexander from Seinfeld is actually in this film with a head full of hair and very young. And also you get some good glimpses of a really young Holly Hunter. And also this film also, I don't know, I can't say it's the first one that's done this, but as opposed to always having a final girl, you know, the surviving heroine chick at the end of every horror film, this has a final guy. So that's one really cool, I think, little twist on things. It's played by the actor who played the kind of dorky character in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Rat, I think his name was in that. I don't remember. But anyhow, so he's in this film. And pretty much the plot is this. A group of, in the prologue, a group of male teenagers are trying to get back at their asshole male counselor, Cropsy. And they kind of do a prank on him involving, I think it's like a rotten skull figure or something with maggots all over it, and it's lit with candles. Well, Cropsy wakes up and sees it and screams and knocks it over and pretty much gets engulfed in flames. So years are spent in the hospital getting skin grafts, and he's completely disfigured. Well, the time he's let out years later, there's a new camp opening nearby from the old one he worked at, and in fact, one of the kids responsible for the fire that he got engulfed in is now one of the grown-up counselors of this camp. So, you know, you get the counselors, you have the teenagers in this, and also the preteens. And I kid you not, this movie is aged accurately. There's no, like, 28-year-old playing, you know, a 15-year-old. Anyhow, so you got children and teens and all that stuff. Anyway, so pretty much you get to know the characters for a good portion of the film, and then by the point when the core group of characters have to travel across River Lake for an overnight journey to camp out in the woods nearby the camp, that's when a lot of the hell breaks loose, because while they're asleep the first night they're out there, all the canoes are let loose by Cropsy, and they're stuck. So the next morning when they wake up, some people are missing, two people one girl's missing dead, and they're all going looking around for her, and they realize the canoes are gone, and they realize, oh shit, we got to get help. So they make a makeshift canoe and send like about 5 or 6 of the kids and teens on it to go find a canoe or get help at the camp. Upon doing so, and this is one of the most famous sequences from this film, is the raft massacre sequence. The kids are on the makeshift raft going, and they find one of their canoes drifting afloat on the lake. And they approach it, and somehow Cropsy's hiding in it. I don't know how that's possible, but he is. And he pops out of it, his silhouette does, with his shears, and this awesome, badass massacre ensues. And yes, the teenagers, children get murdered, but it's really well done and cool, and has some cool effects, and it's a cool death scene. You get young Fisher Stevens getting all of his fingers chopped off with the shears, and also you get people getting jabbed in the throat right here, getting nicked in the face, and getting stabbed everywhere. And it's like Cropsy wipes out 5 or 6 kids on a raft like that, and it's a really cool sequence. And so that happens, and you get other mutilations aplenty throughout the whole film from other characters. However, you know, the showdown begins when Cropsy zeroes in on the dorky final kid I was mentioning, and that's, you know, where the film comes to a head. But anyhow, the film is just really badass. It's I think in some ways, like I said, it's kind of superior to the Friday the 13th films because it had fleshed out characters, it had situations that you actually rooted for them, and the situations before even any of the killing begins, you're actually laughing along with the stuff that's the hijinks that's going on, and that you often see in camp films, you know, between a bunch of hormonal teenagers. Anyhow, so but this film is so badass. If you ever see it on Netflix streaming or anything, I guarantee you to check it out. You'll probably like it if you're a fan of like the Friday the 13th films, you know. And it really, it's not bad whatsoever. And like I said, it's got great gore by Tom Savini. It's got good performances. You get an early Holly Hunter in it. You get an early Jason Alexander, an early Fisher Stevens, and you get a dorky final guy that survives the day and all that. And so, all in all, it's a pretty badass, you know, thrill ride, I think. So like I said, and there is a bit of mean-spiritedness in this, but not too much. But like I said, the cast is aged appropriately, so you do see some kids between the age of probably 12 and 17 dying. So, no joke. But anyhow, I highly recommend The Burning from 1981. It's one of my all-time favorites. And I have a feeling that most that see it are not disappointed. So that's my 2 cents on The Burning. Check it out sometime.